attacking football.
Yes.
This just looked like one of the best performances we've seen for a long time.
Yes. Look, it's the first game of the season. I know everybody wants to get carried away, but let's just be a little bit measured. Look, initially the system that Jose put out, 4-2-3-1, everybody said, we haven't seen that system for quite some time. How's it going to work? We all want Pogba further up the field. But what happened in actual fact was Matic was sensational. The rotation of the midfield allowed Pogba to get forward. Mkhitaryan, I've always thought that he's a top player.
You love the service he was giving those.
Oh, it's fantastic. If you look at the contrast in the size, if you look at Arnautovic, has just been signed for what, £30-odd million. He couldn't get anything in the box. He's got, from dead ball situations, he's hitting the first man. The service from Mkhitaryan onto Lukaku's head was incredible. So I'm trying to cool my jets a little bit, purely and simply because this was a very poor West Ham United performance.
Exactly.
I mean,
was that a bit shocking for you? Because there's a lot to talk over. I mean,
we
speak about Manchester United getting the signings right, but I was feeling excited, and Shaka was feeling excited for West Ham with Chicharito, Joe Hart, Arnautovic. But do they just need more time to gel, or as you said,
I'm
are
not
they just
you know what? I'm not a fan of this gelling stuff. I'll tell you, if you're good enough, if you're coming into the football club, Arnautovic knows this league. Look, he's got this bad boy image, so to speak. But when you go to a new club, you want to impress. He didn't impress today. I felt so sorry for Chicharito. He had no service whatsoever. Bailly and Jones at the back were they're on cruise control. They had basically nothing to do. But I think it's a worrying time for Bilic because, as we just said, spent all this money and there was nothing today. I mean, Reed at the back was absolutely buckets of sweat coming off because he just couldn't get any relief. Noble in the middle of the park. There was no outlets for him. So this is worrying times for West Ham. But as far as Manchester United are concerned, this was almost back to the old days with Sir Alex. You've got runners in the box, you're defending in numbers, you're breaking out. I mean, you name it, they're attacking from wide areas, they're getting runners supporting Lukaku. It was a fantastic, and all Man United fans should be really thrilled. Mourinho behind the scenes, I haven't seen his quote yet, but I'm guessing they'll be pleased with the performance. He won't get out of his tree about it, but it was great. It really was a great performance.
All right, thanks so much to Paul Mariner for that. Complimentary of Manchester United, and why not? They had an absolutely stellar performance today. Mourinho has some interesting comments, and when Jose Mourinho talks, Alejandro Moreno, we listen. He says that he thinks that United have been hampered by the big expectations that have been put on them to bounce back and pretty much be and win everything that we're accustomed to seeing Manchester United win, and that's probably been hampering them this whole time.
Okay, so hold on. So he didn't know this before he took the job?
That's what I'm saying. It's Manchester United, so sure. What's he playing at?
I'll turn it right back around. You're a Manchester United fan, so I'll ask you, as a Manchester United fan, aren't you concerned that 3 or 4 days before the season starts, you have your manager talking about, well, it's going to take 2 years for us to be a major player in Europe? Like, wait a minute.
I am. I thought it was now.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Didn't we just had a year where we were talking
that was
about,
the rebuilding time.
we're bringing in the players, the pieces. Now you've had couple of windows in which you brought in players that you have chosen, that you have handpicked. These are the guys that you want. And now you're telling me, no. It's not this year. It's not next year. It's 2 years from now. Come on now.
Is he setting himself up for not living up to certain expectations this season now?
It's creating a storyline and a rhetoric. And here we are like rabid dogs after it's like, oh my God, Jose Mourinho said this once again. And it is a storyline of, we may come up short this season. But if we do, don't you worry, because 2 years from now, we'll be just fine. He said it himself in this article. Manchester United is a giant club in the world. So as a giant club in the world, your expectations cannot be 2 years from now. You are evaluated on the now, on the immediate. You have to be successful now, because those are the expectations of a club of this size and this history. Nobody wants to hear this thing about it late. Let me tell you something. These players are really going to come together 2 years from now.
In 2 years.
No, that doesn't do anything for me, and I'm not even a Manchester United fan. Does it do anything for you? Oh, there you go.
It just reminds me of my mom that keeps telling me, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Oh.
But what do you think, Alejandro? Do you think, as it stands now, that they can deliver this season, or are you more likely seeing it across 2 years?
I'm seeing a team that should compete for a Premier League title this season. And that's got to be the focus this year. Europe is a different story because across the board, the English Premier League teams have had difficulties in Europe over the last few seasons. But in the Premier League, Manchester United should be competing for the title. And if that's not realistic, then we have a bigger issue. Then we have a bigger problem. And something that has to be discussed with Jose Mourinho. Say, hold on a second, you're telling me that we're not competing this season? It's 2 years from now that we're going to be good? No, it has to be this season, this year.
All right, thanks so much, Alejandro Moreno. So there you go, Jose. Have a talk to my mom because to whom much is given, much is expected. Very interesting news coming out of Manchester United's camp today as Jose Mourinho has confirmed that they are indeed having talks with Zlatan Ibrahimovic to see if he can come back at least for the second half of this season. Craig, Mourinho said that last year Zlatan proved that, you know, he wasn't quite done with the game just yet. But my question is now, after bringing in Lukaku and everyone, where would he fit in? Why take this gamble?
I think it won't be a gamble depending on his assessment from his operation, which is obviously hugely important. I did say on the show at the end of last year, Man United are not in the business, particularly with players like that, of just cutting them loose and saying, oh, thanks very much, but you've got a very bad injury and you're getting old. See you later, get lost, we don't want anything to do with you. And I always felt that the decision was probably more Ibrahimovic's saying, look, I don't want to be a burden. You know, I'm going to take myself away, I'm going to rehab, and then maybe we can talk. Because I do think clubs like United are not in that game where they're just going to absolutely just, you know, cut people loose and say, goodbye, get on with your life. So I'm not surprised this is the case, but I think what United will do, they'll watch it carefully, they'll listen to his physios and his doctors and his surgeons, and they'll talk with the player about it as well. And I'm sure Ibrahimovic will be completely honest and say, listen, this doesn't feel right, or actually, I think I can offer you something. And who knows, you know, Champions League football, Premier League is at stake.
As a squad player, do you see him as?
Well, yeah, if you're going to have 6-7 months out, maybe more, and you're in your mid to late 30s, then you can't really hope for much more. And I think he just wants to be involved again. So I'm not surprised about this, because I did think it last year. United won't just say goodbye, go to America, go to China, do whatever you want. So I'm not surprised at this, particularly with the way the club operates and Mourinho's relationship with the player. And of course, he didn't have a bad season last year, let's not forget, before he got that injury. So I think it's a wait and see. I think it'd be quite exciting for the younger United players. You saw his relationship with Rashford in particular last year, where Rashford looked up to him. So I think it would be a weight off some of the other players' shoulders if he could come in for 3 or 4 months at the end of the season or whatever it was and just help with the squad or actually be around
Some of a mentorship kind of role.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we know he also has a decent relationship with Lukaku, as Lukaku had told us that he did approach him about taking his number, so that probably would work out there for the best. Thanks so much, Craig Burley. So Zlatan back to Manchester United might not be too far-fetched as some would think.
Last season we deserved to win and we didn't. So the fact that we won the match was the most important thing. But I think the quality of our performance, based on confidence levels really high, and I'm not going to say that the performance was perfect, because it wasn't perfect. We made our mistakes. We have room for improvement, obviously. But it was a solid performance, and I like the attitude in the second half. Winning 1-0, come to the game and try to score more goals. After 2-0, we had a little bit of a relaxation, and was a period where Slaven brought Sako, and they create a couple of situations in the box. But then again, good stability, good confidence levels, desire to play until the end. So good, really good. You know, he scored in the Super Cup, he scored today, he's playing well, he's working hard, he likes the team likes him. And for any striker, goals are, they can play phenomenal well, but if they don't score goals, the pressure is on them. So I think good for him, good for Wayne Rooney, for Lacazette, for Morata, for all the guys arriving in new clubs and scoring goals in the first day is always oxygen, is always happiness and confidence for them. Romelu knows me well. He knows that sometimes strikers, they can play very well for the team without scoring goals. He knows that from me, no pressure at all. But today was good and very effective, very objective in the first goal especially.
Welcome into extra time. Here we are once again. Craig back from his vacation. Did you have a nice time?
Did, yes. Lots of lovely people in Jamaica.
Oh,
You've not changed. You've not changed any.
You only say that 10 minutes ago.
Not going back there. We also welcome to the show David Moyes, who was, of course, with us earlier. David, I think you've got a connection to most of the panel here on the couch. Let's start off with Paul Mariner, who was your striking coach when you were at Preston. What were your memories of Mariners as a coach?
That's right. Sorry, I missed that last bit there.
That's all right.
Say that again.
What was your memories of Mariners as a coach?
Big nose.
He was a... Well, people should know, if they don't know in America, how good a player Paul Mariner was. And when I brought him in at Preston, he was someone who the players looked up to. And his knowledge was something which we couldn't get anywhere else. So he done a really good job for me, and enjoyed having him.
I don't believe that.
This is beautiful.
It's my suntan from today.
I've known you a long time, and I've never seen you blush.
It's my suntan from
Wow, you got red, Mariner.
Thank you, Gaffer. You'll do for me.
Are people from Chorley allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Go and work for Preston.
Wow.
Well, not nowadays. In the old days, yes.
So Mariners. What about Craig Burley? When I say that name, what do you think, David?
Don't swear.
Celtic.
That's it.
Played for Celtic, and when we've all played for Celtic, and when you have, you remember all the players who've been there, and because it's such a great club.
That was much shorter than the Paul Mariner testimony.
He's such a... David, in case you don't know, right now he's such a fan favourite. He gets lots of messages on Twitter from his old fans.
Celtic supporters love him.
I tell you what, Moisey, it could be any club in the country. I just get letters off so many of them. Very nice.
And what about Stevie Nick, David?
Well, Stevie Nick played for Scotland, and I followed Scotland everywhere and watched the games.
So he's
I
older
was never
than you?
quite good enough to get in the national team. Well, does he look it?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'll give you a race any day.
Race to the pub.
Right. 3 pints. Who's the quickest?
Moisey, he's got gout now. He can't run.
That tells you.
He's got bad...
All that good living out in America, that must be what it is.
Oh, you've guessed it in one.
I blame the wife's cooking, personally.
So do I.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever coach against Shaka Hislop? Was it kind of just a given 3 points at that stage?
Probably.
No, I can't remember. Maybe in the early days, I think Shaka may have played for Man City when I was a player, and some of my lower clubs in English leagues, which I won't mention here. So I think maybe Shaka played a few games at that time.
Not for City. I'd never played for City.
No,
against
City.
I think David Moyes.
What about Reading?
I lost at Goodison.
When you were at
7
Reading,
once.
You lost 7 at
Yeah, we
Goodison.
conceded 7. I have a feeling David Moyes is the manager.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, kept him in a job, got him an extension.
David, I've got to ask you, like, when you're watching Manchester United and when they were going through that rough run under Van Gaal and Mourinho, are you loving it secretly?
Yes, he is.
I was disappointed to lose my job, as you would expect, but no, because the players were good players. The players worked very well, and I think it's part and parcel of the job now. But obviously, if you lose your job at Manchester United, it's bigger news than if you lose your job anywhere else. But no, I had a great time there. Really enjoyed it. Good players to work with.
Wait, that wasn't the question, David. Did you celebrate when Van Gaal was rubbish and Mourinho went through his rough patch?
He's too nice to answer that.
Just to warn you, on this show, that's a yes. No answer is a yes.
A couple more shows with Craig and
I remember sitting in a restaurant in Glasgow, won't mention the name, when I was at Celtic. When
McDonald's?
McDonald's. Yeah. When Ruud Gullit got the sack.
Right.
And I ordered some champagne. Because he sold me.
Because he dropped you for the FA Cup final, didn't he?
Left me out, yeah.
David Moyes, thank you very much.